Ready? Go.
Yep. Alright, now to start the demo for the actual Teach Pendant system, we're going to actually show off the actual lovely Teach Pendant we have here. With this simple setup, all we have is a keypad, very similar to what was used in the actual EET program, as well as an LCD. The only thing different is this is instead of a 2x20, this is a 20x4. Very simple setup. Right now, as you can see on the main menu here, we have three options. We have the teach mode, data entry mode, and the view teach point mode. All we're going to have to do is it scans through all the keys. If any of the ones 1 through 3 are pressed, it's going to go to that particular menu. For example, we press number 1, it goes to an actual trace mode. Well, we're not going to mess with that right now. We'll go back to that. Let's go to teach point. Let's go to actual view teach points. Well, for viewing teach points, the manufacturing world, anytime you have a robotic system or anything that's automated, you have a way of viewing where your actual teach points go, what the actual settings are. Same concept is here. We have the X and Y coordinate. For teach point 1, we have like 192 steps, and for Y coordinate, 142 steps for the next one. And if you'd like to actually continue on seeing the rest of the actual teach points, you hit the pound key for next page, and it'll actually toggle to the next page. Teach point 4, 5, and 6, all the way up to 9. And if you keep toggling, it'll actually go back to the original page. To exit out, you hit the escape button, and that's how you get out of the actual view teach point page. All that page is for is to give the operator an observation of where the teach points are, what they are set to. You can go in that menu and it will not actually affect the equipment whatsoever. The next option we have is data entry mode. With this mode, you can actually manually type in what actual number what number you want for that particular teach point. For example, if I hit 1, 1, 1, and keep going. By the way, if you mess up a number, it'll just toggle right back around so I can put different numbers in. And it will keep going until I have a number I find pleasing. I can save the teach point by hitting the pound key. It'll ask me which teach point, 1 through 9. We're going to save it for 1, just for the argument. And if I go back to view teach points, let's go hit number 3, sorry. You'll see teach point 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, for every time we actually send a data entry to the actual via wireless or even at all, it actually saves all the teach points in the EEPROM in case power actually does shut off. With this simple setup though, just to make it easier for travel, I've actually used a DB25 ribbon with a connector. See if I can unravel it. And all we did was just wire it down to a breadboard, and the breadboard actually goes into the trainer board as you see here. Very simple setup, not hard at all. The last mode we have on the actual Teach Pendant here, see if I can show it to you, is the trace mode. Hit number 1, that's what we went to earlier. We'll actually go to the motor in just a second and actually show you what this actual does. Every time you hit 1, you can actually see the steps actually increasing as I increase the steps. And what this is doing is actually stepping the motor. And I can actually save that particular teach point over at the motor side. For example, set that as number 1. For the sake of argument though, what we're going to do real quick is we're actually going to go to a particular spot on the board, see if we can get it on there and see how accurate we can get it. So it starts at 0, which is at one of our limit switches. I'm going to bring it all the way around. Every time I hit this button, it's a particular step, so it's going to take a second. Alright, and we got a good spot on the board. Now the numbers it's showing is X92, Y21. We'll go ahead and save that as teach point 1, just out of boredom. Alright, now I left that alone. Now, let me go over to the pointer, the actual pointer side of the actual project. With the pointer side, anytime the pointer gets an input, such as binary number 001, it goes to that particular teach point. And anytime the pointer is has 0 errors, or as well as being powered on, it goes to the home position. Home position is directly center of both the motors, so it's going to be facing straight up, or if this was upside down in one of your pieces of equipment, facing straight down. Basically to prevent pointing the laser in anyone's eyes, as well as when it's dead center, if someone bumps it, it will not affect the equipment at all. And as it's bumped, I can go back to binary 1. See if I can get my finger under there. And it still goes back to the exact same spot on the board. And anytime we go back to a 0, 0, goes back to home position. With this particular set, what makes it so great is it's wireless. In the manufacturing world, 99% of the time, there is a cable hooked to the piece of the robotic system, whether it's a robotic arm, you're teaching an auto hand, whatever it is. Even if it's a mechanical cylinder that keeps teach points, it's always wired in. The benefit between this setup is wireless. There are no wires between the teach pendant and the porting system. I can be across the room or somewhere uncomfortable or safe and teach this particular set. So for example, I can go to trace mode. You'll notice as soon as I go to trace mode, it actually goes to an origin of 0, 0 on the stepper, on the actual limit switches. That indicates 0, 0, an actual origin. That tells me where the actual start stepping at. I can't do it from the home position because if someone bumps it and I start actually toggling it, it does not know where it's at. So by doing this, we know exactly where the motors are at. So by pressing 1, I can actually start and have it move again. And if I don't want to say a teach point, just escape and then it'll go back to normal. And again, what makes it so impressive is the wireless system. This all can be done via wireless, and I can be several feet away in my own safety. And still keep our same teach point. Beautiful. That's teach point 1. All right, and send it home, and that concludes the